Welcome to AI Tools for Creators. In this introductory episode, we'll talk about who we are, who this show is for, and why you should listen. I'm Mike Russell, the Creative Director of Music Radio Creative.
Izabela Russell, the Managing Director, I guess, of Music Radio Creative, amongst a million other roles.
The big boss. And we're going to talk about AI tools in this show in general and how they can be used for creators. Whether you're a podcaster, a video creator, you're trying to write stuff for your blog, we're going to explore and navigate the digital landscape and find the latest trends.
Now, AI has transformed our work already, and I think it's transformed everybody's work. But I think the best thing to get started, as obviously we're putting this out on YouTube, Mike, you have a prominent place on your YouTube channel, obviously for many years. I think it's a good...
Just hit 300,000 subscribers.
Yay! It's a great point to perhaps explain to your subscribers on YouTube as to why a podcast about AI all of a sudden. Obviously, you are to date known about, about audio, video production and kind of that creative side of things. So why sudden turn to AI, and what do you hope to bring to your subscribers?
It's a great question. Yes. Why this sudden turn to AI? So originally, I'm Mike. I'm an audio guy. I got into radio when I was much younger. Then I became a podcaster. I started going to all the podcasting conferences along with Izabela and discovered this great passion for online content creation. Now, obviously, at the start of this year, 2023, as we record this first episode, generative AI and just AI in general exploded, went through the roof. It all started with OpenAI ChatGPT. And now, more and more than ever before, I'm realizing, Izabela, that we are gradually almost being replaced in many aspects of our work. But I would like to take in this podcast and this show a positive spin on things, as I think I went through a bit of a funk at the start of the year when I was watching this all unfold. It was happening so quickly. There was a new news story every week. It's like, now you can generate images, and now you can create voices that sound ultra realistic, and now you can write scripts, and you can create YouTube videos and all of that. And it was just happening so fast that I think it really got into me, and I was thinking, am I being replaced here? Am I actually necessary when ChatGPT can write a great script? What the big aha moment for me, Izabela, is as for the past decade or couple of decades, I'd say, working with audio software, particularly Adobe software like Adobe Audition and Adobe Premiere Pro and Adobe Rush, I have felt like I've learned those software packages really well. And when I started typing questions into ChatGPT about this software, particularly Adobe Audition, and it would throw out answers that were better than I could answer them. Yes, you might need the expert there to look and just make sure it's absolutely right and the correct way to do things. I was starting to shake at the knees. I was like, wow, so where does this leave me? I've spent literally the last 10 years on YouTube teaching people how to do things in different audio and video software. And now, this awesome chat kind of online AI can come up with better solutions than I can.
And I think that the important thing to add here is that a lot of the tools that you were using are actually going into AI space. And I think it's just, I guess, an attempt to try and fit in. And I think a lot of people in similar position, and I would assume a lot of people who are already watching you on YouTube are also trying to find their way to fit in this new AI world. And I guess this podcast is attempting to help you find your space, help you find your voice, help you find that new routine, that new place that we all need to find and explore and fit in as best as we can. So our attempt here is to bring all those latest tools, have fun and play and explore what's available and see how can we really leverage that to our best possible, versions available, and how can we level up what we do? So we will both bring slightly different spins onto things. So Mike is very creative. His background is audio production, making jingles, making fun things, whereas I have far more analytical mind. My background is in business and banking, so I look at things, first and foremost, like, is this worth it? It's like, what is the ratio of effort to benefit? So it's like I look at things with far more grounded approach, and I think that the combination of the two of us hopefully brings that kind of really well polished result at the end, and we hope that gives you the clarity as a result of that.
I'm up in the clouds and you're grounded, so I'm like, wow, you'll never guess what new tool I've just discovered. This can replace all of my YouTube short work. And you're like, well, hang on a second, Mike, like, how much does this tool cost, and what is the real benefit over you actually editing those videos, or et cetera, et cetera. One of the other things I'd like to say, Izabela, is it's been a long time since we've actually done a podcast. We've been around and podcasting. I think we started our first podcast, I want to say 2014, the original music radio creative podcast. And now, as you've already alluded to, AI is coming into our lives everywhere. So we see this as a trend that we really want to hop onto and help people discover. So we want to go on that journey with you together and learn about the tools and how we can use them. But podcasting, I believe, in my opinion, more than ever now, is so important to an online content strategy, an online presence. It's a way for people to really get to know you, who you are. And like I alluded to earlier on, I was going through a bit of a content funk earlier this year, and I felt like, I'd batched up a load of videos for the YouTube channel, but I was really struggling to come up with new ideas and new content and actually even do stuff. I actually, if I'm to be really entirely honest here, I went through a funk where I thought, what is the point in keep making videos and keep teaching stuff when these AI, tools can kind of teach, or at least concisely give the information better than I feel I can. And so I just kind of thought, well, what do I do? What do I make? What do I create? Because it feels like I'm being replaced. But,
I think that there is a combination. Right? There is a combination of that, and perhaps a middle life crisis somewhere along the way too.
Midlife crisis, mental breakdown. I did a lot. I got off social media for a while as well, because I felt that was just a bad influence on my life and it was overwhelming me. You said to me recently, Mike, maybe you should get back on there, and like maybe we should podcast again and do those things. People forget about you if you're not on social media. Like I came off Facebook, and I think, I felt good about that. My life improved. I had a lot more experiences of being outdoors and connected, but I was connected in such a small bubble. And you're like, what about all those people that just see your updates and what you're up to? So it's a double-edged sword, isn't it, with regards to being online?
But I think there is also an element of overwhelm. And I think that, when we look at social media, that has changed so much. There are so many different networks that came up. And it's like all of a sudden people are like, so how do I use Facebook? How do I use Instagram and Twitter? All now X.
Threads
and X and then this and that, and it's like, actually that alone can be overwhelming. And I do remember a few years back, you've made a conscious decision. You're like, I'm getting off everything, and you've scaled back your social presence right back. But in retrospection, I don't think that was the right thing for you to do, and I think that you had all the right reasons behind it, but I don't think that was the right execution. And I'm glad that you are back. So Mike is back, by the way. If you would like to find him on Instagram or Facebook, you can definitely do that. I think you could do with more friends.
I am. So my handle is Mike Russell everywhere. So if you type in basically my name with the letter I in front of it, you will find me on your favorite network. I'm pretty much getting everywhere now, which is
absolutely good. So find Mike and start being friends with Mike. He could do with more friends on his social media platforms.
Yeah.
But I think that it is just the clarity that was needed, and now you have the clarity that actually just being present quite often is what counts. Like people need you need to be on people's minds. But that, like with Facebook, there are so many other benefits that you've seen. It's like I have a lot of
You've
friends.
got a mushroom picking group where you learn about the best mushrooms to get, and you get mushrooms identified.
Yeah, but it's also just kind of great conversation starters with people that you know, and
Yeah.
you know, just in general. But moving on from the social media mention, I think that the hope for us is to actually bring that kind of clarity that I think is needed. And maybe, I don't know whether there is, you know, people of different age groups maybe approach this differently, but I think that for us as working professionals with established business and established niche, it's kind of like essential to almost reframe everything we do. And as we are going about reframing our own overview of the AI world, we hope that we can bring clarity to your overview of how that could reshape your business, your professional, personal goals, and how we can, you know, see the future moving forward, because it's changing so fast. And I think that's scary at times.
And I want to put out there, like, as a big, I guess, headline of this show, is that the belief, certainly from me, is that AI will not replace us. It will enhance us. It will make us better. But nothing replaces the human touch, the human feel, the human vibe. Like, I've used a lot of AI music generators, and there's no soul in the music that comes out right now. That might change 2-3 years, maybe even quicker down the line. But right now, I feel like even the stuff that ChatGPT throws out at me, I feel like it's very methodical. If I ever see unleashing, revolutionizing, or game-changing, I'm like, that's made by ChatGPT, because those are words that ChatGPT seems to use quite a lot in my experience.
You know,
and one thing I will say about doing a podcast and having this connection, so being here every week with the AI Tools for Creators podcast, is that people get to know, like, love, and trust you, so that when you go to conferences, when you go to places, they'll be like, Mike, Izabela, I know you. How many times have we had that in the past? And I feel like me in particular, and with the social media scaling down, like, I lost a lot of that. And I kind of, by doing this podcast, I want to be back out there and say, hey, I'm doing things. This is the new direction I'm looking. AI, obviously I'm an audio guy with a video spin as well. But like, I definitely want to integrate AI and embrace it fully.
I just wanted to say that I was just about to disagree with you for the first time. First of many, I'm sure, because this is where a lot of the times...
You're notorious for doing that.
I am. But I just wanted to say that, be under no illusion, all of those tools are created precisely to replace us. And I think that the fact that they don't replace us right now is maybe just an indication that they are not there yet, but the goal is to 100% replace us. Why do you think those tools are created? I think that those tools are created to replace us, because that's the ultimate benefit to the managers, who then can cut the fees for creatives. You know, you see, so
the
it's
Hollywood
like
strikes and all of this stuff. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Actually, that's interesting, because for someone who's new to this show and new to us, new to myself, Mike, and Izabela, you won't know maybe that we disagree a lot on a lot of things. Even though we're a husband and wife, we also work together.
Happily
we have differing opinions.
We've been 14 years. We've been married for
14 years. That's right. We do disagree on a lot. So I've got that positive. It won't replace us. We'll work with it. We'll be the creative directors helping the AI to make the greatest products ever made with a human soul. And Izabela's coming in from the other side and saying, no, AI is going to replace us. And almost you're saying we're in the dial-up modem stage of AI, but soon we're going to get, you know, broadband, where it's going to be like, whoa, and then we're going to get fiber, and then it's the singularity. And actually, you know, I often go down this rabbit hole. In fact, any friend that we meet up with, I usually talk about singularity, and you roll your eyes.
I'm going to be like, just stop now. Just
stop
there.
Stop. Let's go for a moment, because at some point I could talk about we're living in the Matrix, and is this reality? You know, has AI already taken over, and is this a really advanced AI simulation that we're living in right now? Whew, that's like going Elon Musk territory, isn't it? But, you know, assuming it hasn't happened, and this is reality, and we're here right now as humans with AI on the brink of becoming sentient and the singularity happening, all it takes is for the switch to be clicked, right? Because maybe this technology already exists, but it's inside a big box somewhere in Silicon Valley, right? And someone flicks that switch and it's like, beep, and then boom, you're in the singularity, and it's like, whoa. It's like
this is
Tron
not a
or the Matrix.
conspiracy theory
It's not a
podcast.
conspiracy series, Joe.
Can I
but
just
it's real.
say
It's
that
happening.
We are
it's
going
happening.
to keep to the facts, and I will make sure we keep to the facts. Let's not go head in the clouds just yet, Mike. I think that
there's a
there
whole
will be time and place
singularity
for that.
subreddit. If you go to Reddit and look for the singularity, there's a whole community there of people who discuss the doomsday scenarios. So yeah, but anyway, I'm going to come from the positive side. It sounds like, Izabela, you're going to come from the negative side of it's going to replace us.
Not always. Not genuinely, not always. I think that there is a lot of potential for it, but at the same time, I think that it's important to stay realistic as to the real reasons why those tools are created. What's the agenda like behind everything? Whatever you see, the very first question you've got to ask yourself is why. Mm-hmm. And if you can't ask the question why, you can't land with reasoned conversation at the end of it. And I think that this is where everything that we discuss should start. It's why. And
absolutely,
we might not always land on the ultimate why, but we can speculate. And
so we're going to be completely replaced as creators. Then what are we going to do? Is it going to be a future scenario of we'll all be on universal income and we'll be lying on a beach somewhere with enough money to survive, and the AI will generate content to entertain us, a bit like the episode of Black Mirror, which was awesome. I think that was what was the Black Mirror episode? It was the one about Joan, wasn't it? It was Joan is Awful. So you probably haven't seen that, Izabela, but I am a big Black Mirror fan, and Joan is Awful it's basically AI generating a series on Netflix that is exactly about your life and follows your life course and is molded to you. And I mean, we're already seeing aspects of AI being used, for instance, in podcasting. Some of the big podcast networks like Spotify and Acast are already doing things where they can generate specific adverts tailored to specific groups of people. And eventually it's going to be specific adverts dedicated to you. So think about this. Think about the fact that, right now you might get a podcast interrupted for an advert that is global. It could be, buy this brilliant supplement because it's absolutely fantastic. It's the best supplement ever. That's very generic. But then eventually it's going to say, hey, people in the UK, did you know there's a good supplement? And because we don't get enough sunlight here in the UK, if you take it, you'll feel better. And you're like, crikey, they know I'm in the UK. That's amazing. And then eventually it'll narrow down further and say, hey, if you're in London and you constantly get stressed, you definitely need to take this supplement because it's going to make you relax. And then finally it'll dial into you and your personal preferences taken from Facebook and X and all the other social networks, everything you've been looking at. It'll be say, hey, I know that you are, probably eating a little bit too much sugar. Did you know if you take this supplement, it stops your cravings for sugar? So Mike, you should definitely take that supplement. You're like, wait a second, Joe Rogan just said, Mike, take this supplement. I mean, this is where it's going, right?
But I think that, Mike, because you tend to go such an extreme, and actually just take a step back for a second. AI has been around since 2005. Okay, so
AI is not a new word. Right.
It's not a new thing at all. Mm-hmm. Companies like Google and Facebook have embraced AI for many years, actually over decades, and they are already using it very clever. So, it's like how the Facebook ads are shown, how you can target ads in Google. All of that is artificial intelligence. It's it's learning on the data that we are willingly give them. This is not new. What is new and what is sparking a lot of the conversations is the fact that all of a sudden it has been given to us. And it's like, all of a sudden as humans, like end users, we have ability to actually just take it and do something with it. So it's just imagine it as if it's been behind closed doors for closed doors, as in you had to have some level of technical knowledge and maybe be versed in like deep programming languages to be able to really access that, understand it, and maybe create some use case for you, right? But then there were companies that have been developing this for a very long time, and now all of a sudden they open the door to general public and say, well, there is this cool AI thing coming in, give us your data, input all the different things, because you are ultimately testing and giving us the playground to make it even bigger and better. So
You're
this
right.
is just the beginning, but it has been around for a really long time.
Machine learning, Google TensorFlow, all of that. But like you say, it's been available to coders. Now it's democratized. And I think that's a great thing. For example, in general life, you need legal advice. You can get it. It might not be entirely accurate, and it might be much better to go to a lawyer. But for instance, someone with no money who needs to fight their landlord to get something sorted out can copy and paste the contract and get ChatGPT to throw out all the reasons why the landlord is in the wrong, kind of thing. And there's other scenarios where this technology can be used really well. For instance, I've used it myself to write to companies and say, hey, this is wrong, sort it out. But instead of sitting there and procrastinating for 20 minutes trying to think of what to write in the email, I'll just say to ChatGPT, this product broke. I've only had it 6 months. I'd like to write an email. The aim is to get it replaced. And then it'll just spit me out like 2 paragraphs. Brilliant. I'll overlook it, make sure it's okay. And you still have to babysit it a little bit because sometimes it can go off on a tangent. But it's brilliant for use cases like that. And it's also brilliant, as we come to the end of the episode, Izabela, for brainstorming episode ideas. And I actually used GPT-4 to suggest a few names for this initial episode. So I thought maybe I'll run a few by you and see what you think.
We can. How about? Hold on. Just hold with that till the very, very end.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure we cover everything in this episode because we haven't quite yet. So, the reasons why we are doing the episode. What you may not know yet is actually what we do. So we've mentioned the fact that Mike is his predominant role is YouTube. So Mike records videos, teaches people how to sound good, how to look good, covers a lot of topics related to content creation, audio and video, but we are now expanding it into AI tools and a lot more about podcasting, which we have been covering for many years, just not in a deliberate way. Maybe let's put it that way, as in,
even before this year, 2023, as we record this show, we've been talking about and recommending AI tools such as Descript.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, tools like Riverside for recording your podcast and things like that. These all have AI in. It's just this year AI became a buzzword.
Yes.
But
but we are expanding on that. But the main core of our business is an audio production / creative company that makes custom audio for clients. So we work with podcasters, with radio stations, DJs. We work with companies that would like to sound great. And that could be anything from a podcast intro, royalty-free music. We do sound effects, custom voiceovers, and anything in between. So our industry has been affected by AI, and I have no doubt it will continue to be affected by AI. And this, by talking about it, we want to understand it better and just see how we can steer our ship of creative company in the seas of the AI tools and all the latest innovations that seem to pop out of everywhere every 3 seconds. So this is where we are coming from. So Mike's predominantly focused on his YouTube in our business, whereas I take care of marketing, the business development, the sort of strategic decisions within the company that we operate. Now, in addition to all of that, we also train people. So Mike quite often will go out to different places and teach people how to do podcasting, how to sound great. Now we're going to be talking about AI tools too. And this is where the new path for us comes into the podcast, which we haven't covered. And I know we are keen to share that with you as well. One of the things that we are looking to do as both company, professionally and personally, is actually to relocate relatively soon to a completely new part of the world, uncharted territory. It's over to you, Mike. I feel like you should share the news.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So this is really, really cool. We are relocating really soon to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. We're really excited to be going to the Middle East. At the moment, things are just going up and up there, growing. We're seeing a big trend, particularly in podcasting, video creation, and all that kind of content creation. It's really big, not just in the United Arab Emirates, but also neighboring countries such as Saudi Arabia and Qatar. And we just really feel like we need to be in that region as it's growing so fast.
Yes.
AI is being embraced. Later this year, I think at the start of October, there's the Dubai Assembly for Generative AI. That's somewhere I plan to be at. There's GTEx as well, which will no doubt do some brilliant AI stuff. That's a big technology conference that happens in Dubai as well. It's kind of similar to CES, but for the Middle East. So we're really excited about our Middle Eastern adventure. Can't wait. I'm also a big fan of dates, so that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dates are a big thing
Dates
out there.
as in dates to eat, not going out on dates. Let's just
Absolutely,
clarify this point.
Dates and Arabic tea. I'm
Yes.
so a big fan.
Yes.
And very excited to see where this new part of our journey takes us.
And this is something that has been developing over the past year. We've been going to various different parts of that region for the past year and making new connections and looking at different ways to take this forward. But we are really excited because it's a kind of like a new adventure, and it's something that we needed for a while. And actually, as Mike says, there is a lot of potential in that region, and we are excited to be part of that.
Can't wait. So to end the episode, Izabela, I typed into ChatGPT. Our podcast is called AI Tools for Creators. What should we call the first episode, which will introduce the hosts and say what we do? So here we go. I'll give you 3 ideas. Idea 1. I quite like this one myself. Origin Code. Who we are and why AI matters. Not feeling that. Okay. Idea 2. Creative Beginnings. The faces behind the future.
I like that one.
I might go with that. And idea number 3. Episode 1, Human Meets Machine, Our Story. What do you want to go for?
Number 2.
You're going for the creative beginnings? Okay, creative beginnings. On the next episode, make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be really exciting because Izabela and I will share the exact tools that we're already using for our own content creation. So if you want to know the AI tools we're already using, tune in to the next episode. It's going to be really exciting.
We're very excited. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, we want to make sure that you subscribe or follow or like on whatever platform you are listening or watching. And if there is one friend that you feel that could benefit from the content we create, share that with them and spread the word so that we can help more people like you.